Hi, my name is Ryan Gallerani, and I'll be doing two contrasting monologues, and I'll be reading a side. The two monologues are from Bob, A Life in 5 Acts, and The Snow Geese, and the side is from The Unexpected Guest. I am going to be a hero for someone. Alright, my list of ideas is growing longer and stronger every day. I can make this the greatest rest stop in the country. Yeah, I'll clean the bathroom every other hour. I'll carve better trails into the hills where the men meet their soulmates. I will reconfigure the parking design in order to foster a greater sense of community amongst the travelers. The Bob Memorial Rest Stop. Put it on a plaque. Do you think when someone reads your name on a plaque hundreds of years after you're dead, like for a brief instant you exist again? Like all of a sudden the soil and the dust that were once your molecules suddenly experience a memory of their past teamwork, of being part of a human being that did something that was so important it had to be recognized. On a plaque. Do tell. Because this is the first I'm hearing of it. I mean, obviously something's very wrong with me, seeing as how I do everything I can, everything you ask of me, and still it's like I'm this bruise around here! As if I'm some deaf and dumb idiot who can't figure out what language you're speaking! I just for once want us to say what we mean, instead of speaking in all this old-fashioned code language. It's complete Victoriana, Mother. I don't know what you're aware of and what you're not. I mean, we drove Father's body all the way down to Syracuse, and you made nothing but small talk the whole way. You made chirpy conversation about the amount of black crepe in the attic, and now you hope there was enough to fit out a more suitable morning dress. Never a word about the fact that Dad's body's in the truck, and he somehow hasn't left enough money behind to buy so much as a coffin, let alone throw a proper service. And do you know what we all say to each other on the way back here? When just 10 hours ago, I thought we were... Alright, not wealthy, but at least solvent. Zero. Zero. Beautiful. Apposite and beautiful.
Sergeant Cadwallader.
Season of mists and meadow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun.
What?
Keats. You'd hardly credit the fine day it is when you think of the terrible time we had getting here last night. The worst fog I've known in years. No wonder the accidents piled up the way they did on the Cardiff road.
Might have been worse.
I don't know now. At Portugal, that was a nasty smash. 1 killed and 2 children badly injured, and the mother crying a heart out there on the road.
Have the fingerprint boys finished their job yet?
Yes, sir. I've got them all ready here for you.
No trouble from the household about taking their prints?
No trouble whatever. Most obliging they were. Anxious to help, as you might say. And that is only to be expected.
I don't know about that. Most people kick up no end of a fuss. Seem to think their prints are going to be filed in the rogues gallery. Now let's see. Mr. Warwick, that's the deceased. Mrs. Laura Warwick. Mrs. Warwick Sr., young Jan Warwick. Miss Bennett, and who's this? Angle? Oh, Angel. Ah, yes. That's the male nurse attendant, isn't it? And 2 other sets. Let's see now. On outside of window, on decanter, on brandy glass, overlaying prints of Mr. Warwick and Angel, and Mrs. Laura Warwick, on cigarette lighter and on the revolver. That will be that Michael Starkweather. He gave Mrs. Warwick brandy and he carried the gun in from the garden.
Mr. Starkweather.
You don't like him?
What's he doing here? That's what I'd like to know. Running his car in a ditch and coming up to a house where there's been a murder done.
You nearly ran our car into the ditch last night, coming up to a house where there's been a murder done. And as to what he's doing, he's been here for the last week, looking around for a small house or cottage. Seems he had a Welsh grandmother and used to come here for holidays when he was a boy.
Ah, well now, if he had a Welsh grandmother, that's a different matter, isn't it?
We ought to get the report on him from Aberdeen any moment now. Have you got his prints for comparison?
I sent Jones round to the inn where he's staying, but he'd gone out to the garage to see about getting his car salvaged. Jones rang the garage and told him to report at the station as soon as possible.
Right. Now, about this second set of unidentified prints. The print of a man's hand flat on the table by the body, and blurred impressions on the outside and inside of the French windows.
McGregor.
Yes, could be. But they weren't on the revolver, and you'd say any man would have sense enough to wear gloves.
An unbalanced fellow like McGregor wouldn't think of that.
We ought to get a description of him through from Norwich soon.
It's a sad story whichever way you look at it. A man, his wife but lately dead, and his only child killed by furious driving.
If there had been furious driving, Warwick would have gotten a sentence for manslaughter, or at any rate for the driving offence. In point of fact, his license wasn't even endorsed.
There is some fearful lying goes on sometimes.
A man's hand flat on the table. I wonder.
It could have been a guest in the house.
I understand from Mrs. Warwick there were no visitors to the house yesterday. That manservant might tell us more. Go and fetch him.
Yes, sir. Thank you.